Hi, my name is Yvonne Harvey Williams. Everyone nowadays seems to have their, their own perception or perspective about what love is. And they have these fantasies about, their knight in shining armor, their princess, and the little toad that's waiting to be kissed by his princess to turn into this great prince. And everyone seems to have these false impressions about what love really is. But what we're going to do is give you the reality today. We're going to show you in this documentary some valuable information from our teens, young adults, and experts, giving you what the real deal is about love, relationships, and marriage. We are all looking for that perfect love. But what is a healthy relationship?
One where you can be with one person and you can trust them and you can basically trust on them, rely on them, and love them.
Where the man and woman come together to form a basic understanding of love and they both share that same opinion.
Each of them is open with the other one, no hiding, anything like that.
Friendship and intimacy, respecting one another, affection.
Also have to have good sexual chemistry together.
Where they're attracted to each other simply because they like each other's personalities.
There has to be first friendship before there is a relationship.
Understanding each other, who they are, as people, and not just their what on their outside, but on their inside as well.
I know guys that got involved with girls just because they knew that they were getting sex, and then that was it pretty much once they were bored.
A lot of people just are together just to be together.
I feel like people are only in a relationship because they feel like they need somebody.
And so they fill that need in a not healthy way by engaging in premarital relations.
They just want to make love, have sex, whatever. Not necessarily in it for the relationship part.
The number one cause of problems in relationship is self-centeredness. And what I mean by that is believing that there's only one reality and I have it. So if you want to go out Saturday night and I would rather stay home and, play a game, watch TV, then there's something wrong with you or me or us. There will always be differences in relationship.
If what we want out of life is just something very superficial or just something very intangible, then okay, go from relationships to relationships and spend yourself each time. Because what happens in a relationship, we spend ourselves. We like money, we spend ourselves. And then when it comes time for the next relationship, sometimes we're almost spent out.
There's also a strong tendency for teenagers to cling to each other. Guys do it very dominantly. That's my woman, that's my territory. No guy's going to look at my woman. My gosh, what are they, 18 years old and they're talking about their woman? And girls do it with these romantic fantasies of having to have a guy and tolerating that kind of dominance and even get in fights with other girls over the guys as if it's territorial.
When we see couples clinging together, young people especially, what they're really projecting is their own fear. That's what causes them to cling in the first place. And it can be abandonment, it can be rejection, anything like that.
It can come from divorce. It can come from parents who worked all the time and couldn't spend time with kids, which happens to this generation. But this gotta have a man, gotta have a woman, nothing without them, causes them to tolerate some real destructive behavior and some controlling behaviors from peers that they're dating that's very unhealthy.
The problem is it creates insecurity. And insecurity is fear that we have applied to relationships. And typically what they will do is they will adapt to that fear, which causes them either to be dominant or to cling or whatever. And the problem with doing that, you see, is the adaptation is reinforcing the fear. The more they cling, the more fearful they will become.
Unhealthy relationships do not respect the other's viewpoint. There's only one reality, and I've got it. They're often based on fear and insecurity. People tend to think of the other as my property. Guys tend to dominate. Girls often cling and tolerate unhealthy domination. Both domination and clinging reinforce more fear and insecurity. In unhealthy relationship, people spend all of their emotions, so nothing is left for long-term and healthy relationships. Just because you're physically attracted does not mean it's a good relationship match.
Giving time to one another.
Sort of a constant friendship, constant caring for one another.
Communication, talking about pretty much everything.
Communication and honesty. Where there is no communication, then you don't have a stable relationship.
You need to cooperate with each other, share interests.
Standing on your own 2 feet is a good idea because it makes you more able to ultimately give yourself in a true adult loving union rather than these cyclical, ultimately empty relationships that so many young women get trapped into.
It takes a lot of effort. That's why we say relationships take work. Well, what do we mean by work? Here's my definition of work. Doing what you're not inclined to do. Well, why should I do anything I don't want to do? Well, the answer to that question is, do you know why? Because number one, it's good for me. Number two, you feel better about yourself when you do the right thing. It's not just about me.
It's work every day to maintain a marriage where you're still, you're kind of out of that in love, cloudy stage, and it's work to make sure that you really do love each other every day.
When you get into a relationship, it's like opening up a business. You become partners.
Yes.
So you have to work together. And as long as you get two people that are willing to work together, there's nothing that they can't accomplish.
It's not so much that you disagree with something or disagree with each other about something in particular, but the real issue is how are you going to resolve that?
The more respectful and the better I treated her, the better her response was to me, and she treated me even better.
I think oftentimes people try to escape from a lot of the problems, and that puts a very big stressor on marriages and in terms of the success rate that marriages have.
If I made her feel special like a queen, she treated me like her king. But if I tried to make it seem where she was insignificant, she didn't mind it, it was very clear to her that she was not valued in this relationship. So therefore she operated in a zone where she was angry, upset, very vocal. And so when I changed, then she changed.
Maturity and a mature relationship is about not only thinking, well, what do I want to do? Not only thinking, well, what gives me pleasure, but what is good for the relationship?
Healthy relationships involve trust, honesty, and internal qualities, and not just physical attraction. Healthy relationships require communication, listening, and cooperation. They're based on knowing and being comfortable with yourself first. How you resolve disagreements is as important as what you disagree about. To get respect, give respect first. Think about what's good for the relationship and about we, not just me.